Girish. So we shall move on to our next speaker, Dr. Avinash Pathengay, who is a Director of Education for the LV Prasad Group of Hospital and also a senior Vittoretna consultant. And he is going to talk on another very important topic: how to ensure growth in my organization. On to you, Dr. Avinash. Dr. Girish, your talk was good. Dr. Kumar, I would want you to stay awake and take a question to him after this.
Right. Again, thank you, Chitra, and the members of the ARC for giving me an opportunity here. And greatest learnings happens in one's own life. And a couple of years before, understanding this philosophy made me think about how I could reflect in my last 25 years and make some sort of an life lessons which I would have gained in the last 25 years. So I would circle around from the time I went into my fellowship period, working with stalwarts, understanding them, made me understand or grain into me that learning is going to be a lifelong process, especially the profession what we are in. I was at that point of time made me understand about it. And second, when I entered from Shankar Nethralaya to LV Prasad Institute, got inspired by founding chairman, I could understand that whatever we do, immerse yourself completely with your heads, hand and heart, so that you have your signature at the end of it in whatever you do. That was something which got into me by looking at him. It was inspirational. And when I got into the administrative realm, I could very well understand that it is all about how to make people far better than what they were when you first saw them. So those were three lessons which I could decipher, making the sense that life is something, an important learning, which it throws at you every time, but we just have some time to reflect about it. Now, today's talk is just going to focus on learning is a lifelong process. Many of us know about it, and everybody has a purview to look at it in the way which suits them the most. I am going to play through you what I have understood as learning is a lifelong process in my own mind. Right, just get it right. So when I think that learning is important, why learning is important? Learning is important because learning is development, learning is progress, and learning is growth. And latching on to the last aspect, that learning is growth, is important because the title of my today's presentation is going to focus that learning is going to be growth. So having said that learning is growth, the next question which comes to us is, what is that we have to learn? Right? What is that we have to learn? Now, I want to construct this image. I want your mind to construct this image. On the left hand side, you want something which you have to learn from the professional aspect, and on the right hand side, you have to learn something which is foundational or fundamental. Now, everybody says that you have to keep learning, but things gets much clearer, but if one understands what is that you have to learn. Yeah, thank you. Now, I told you about the right hand side, the foundational skills are important. So when I talk about foundational skills, this does not matter which profession you are in, whether you are an engineer, a medical professional, or you're an artist, or you're in literature, you're an archaeologist, or whatever it might be, it does not really matter. So the foundational skills are like the real foundations of the strong constructions which you can build. The stronger the foundation, so should be the building as tall as it can get. The weaker the foundations, you can't have a very strong construction being made. And why I said that it does not, it transgresses all the professional scale or all the professional degrees which we have, because if we are good in what these things, what we have just written on the right hand side, you can do good in anything what you really want. So having said that, what are the foundational skills? It starts with observational skills. And what is observations all about? And we know in medical profession, we start by saying your mind, your eyes will see what the mind knows. That's the preliminary form of it. But the completeness comes when your eyes will see what the mind does not know, and that's where the novel observations are made. It is totally unprejudiced to get to an observation where your mind does not know, but you have to have a start, but the circle gets completed when your mind or your eyes will see what the mind does not know. That's a total behavioral shift what is required. So, having spoken about observational skills, next I would look at the curiosity. Why curiosity is important? Be curious as a child, we all heard about it, and curiosity is all about asking questions. Again, creating the environment in one's own mind or being totally non-prejudiced about it is extremely important. It's not about answers, it's just about asking the questions, however naive it can get. And once we have that, the questions, the right questions coming up in the mind, then there can be another time and place where we can invest ourselves in understanding what the answers to these questions can be. And that forms the element of critical thinking. So, there are thinking can last or can be subdivided in many ways. Critical thinking is one aspect of it. Now, why thinking is important? Today's day and age, we have data available to us in all forms. How do we create a story around the data is what is important. Now, if you go to any meeting or you read any article, you have a complex graph and chart thrown at you, and you can read these numbers which are there, but are the numbers important or the story behind the numbers is important? That's what makes the winning difference. So, critical thinking is all about making understand how we can build the story behind the data what is seen in front of us. And the next skills which is important is known as communication skills. Why communication skills is important? Now, here where you try to understand if Shakespeare has to deliver a lecture, how would it get, right? He would be delivering the lecture which in English as one of the finest English lecture, but how much he would be able to convey what he has in mind to the person who is listening. You need a book to understand what he is trying to talk. It is not about vocabulary, it is about the capability of the person to put what is there in mind in the simplistic terms to the person who is listening out there, and that's the communication skills which someone has to learn about it. And fourth, it's about collaborative skills. And why collaboration is important? Now, even in medical field or profession, most of the learning happens from peers. And when we learn from our peers, 50 to 60% of it happens from shoulder to shoulder learning, and that's peer based learning, and that happens because of collaboration. And if we are not, if we live on our own silos and we are not able to collaborate, it hinders our development, growth and progress, because we lose a big component of learning there, and that's why collaboration is important. And last is creativity. Why creativity is important? Creativity is nothing but close to divinity, right? So, we all have read that there was this particular person who was the creator of this universe. He created the universe for 6 days, on 7th day he took rest, depending upon the type of belief one can have. But there was a creator who created what it is today. That's the reason why it is very close to divinity, because they are able to do something different which is not seen, not heard, not felt before. So, creative skills can be and all of us have it. All of us have it, because otherwise evolution would not have happened. We would have been Neanderthal, what we were many thousands of years before. Through a natural process of evolution, creation does happen and creativity gets imbibed into us. And all of these, if you have to reconstruct another image in your mind, you just think about as an app. You have a smartphone with you and all these apps are there. It's all free download. You just have to see how much you can explore each of these, and if you have to attach a meter to this, you have to see how much it can move itself. The needle can move itself to 80 to 100% of its utility, and that's where you can have given all these apps which have been free downloads to you, utilize as much as possible. So, starting from observational skills, curiosity skills, critical thinking skills, communications, collaborative and creative skills, these are the fundamental skills. So, if we have a very good fundamental skills, so also would be the growth what it is. Pun intended, today's day and age, if you are very good in the fundamental skills, you can also be called fundamentalist, right. So, now let us move to the left hand side, right. It is about your professional skills. So, about professional skills, every profession, let us get back to ophthalmology itself. For a vitreoretinal surgeon or for a cataract surgeon or for a corneal surgeon. So, there are some clinical skills involved and there are surgical skills involved, there are diagnostic skills involved. So, if we can understand all of these, that for each profession there are certain specific skill sets or competence which are involved which we have to gain. It would just get augmented if we have enough of these. Believe me, it does. If you have enough of these, all this would just get augmented so that learning becomes lifelong process, and I do not mind repeating again, learning is development, learning is progress and learning is growth. So, status quo is not good. Status quo would always find itself to the bottom at one point of time or the other. So, just before I complete, I just had one psychology of learning which we have to understand, that just imagine in everyone's life, there is, when we just joined the residency, we thought that we want to learn cataract surgery. Let us take an example that we wanted to learn cataract surgery. So, we are conscious about learning a skill. Next, imagine a situation when you operate and there is someone who is overlooking you, you said please do not disturb me, I am very serious about making this incision, I am very serious about making this rexis or delivery. They are very conscious about developing the competence. And you see the evolution yourself in the next phase when you operate, that you said where is my next patient, has a patient come in, has a patient been blocked, has the following patient's systemic condition is okay. So, it goes into a stage of unconscious competence. So, this psychology of learning which automatically happens in the brain has to be used, and when it is used to its fullest, then you can see a lot of growth, not only in you, if individuals grow, the organizations grow. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Avinash, for throwing light onto very many aspects of growth of an organization. Do you have, sorry, I'm just taking one question. Do you have non-medical faculty in leadership roles? Because I understand from the way you have different medical professional in different roles of administrative roles. Do you have non-medical people also in the administrative roles, in the senior roles?
Yes, we had. We still continue to have. He has become the Vice Chairman Emeritus. So, he had moved in from Cognizant. So, yes.
But largely they are all medical professional in leadership roles.
Correct, correct.
Okay. Yes, Kumar, I wanted you.
A very nice presentation, sir. Only one very basic, simple question is it better to have every individual multitasking to the best, or is it better to have some individuals who are good at a particular thing do the job the best?
Yeah, so it's very hard to make that choice. It's an individual's personality. Some people can multitask, and ultimately when you come to a certain level, and if they love to multitask and they are able to deliver the results, allow them to do it. And some of them who can deliver results by just focusing on what they are good at, allow them to do it. Ultimately, it's what we have to have is what they can deliver. Whether they multitask or not, that it's totally independent.
So, you shouldn't waste time making everyone multitask the best.
No, we should identify what they are good at. Making someone beyond a certain level, I don't think so. It is going to, we can make them aware, but forcefully making them multitask, it's just not possible. Some are good at it, some are not good at it. But ultimately, the end result should be something which is unique, very good, and useful for the organization and the person.
Thank you very much, Dr. Avinash. Do stay on with us.